Margaret Wilson had lived in the same neighborhood for nearly 20 years. At 76 years old, she was one of the most familiar faces in the community. Most afternoons, she could be found sitting on her porch, reading a book, or chatting with neighbors passing by. Despite severe arthritis that made walking difficult, she remained independent and active. That independence improved dramatically when her daughter bought her a mobility scooter. The scooter allowed Margaret to move around without constant pain, attend community events, visit neighbors, and enjoy a level of freedom she hadn't experienced in years. Most residents were happy to see her getting around more easily. HOA President Sharon Pierce wasn't. Sharon had earned a reputation for being obsessed with neighborhood appearances. She constantly searched for violations and seemed to enjoy reminding homeowners about community rules. Many residents found her frustrating, but few expected her to target an elderly woman over a medical mobility device. The first violation notice appeared on Margaret's front door only a few weeks after she started using the scooter regularly. According to the HOA, the scooter created a visual nuisance because it was occasionally parked beside the porch while charging. Margaret assumed the notice had been issued by mistake. She contacted the HOA and explained that the scooter was a medical mobility device necessary because of her arthritis. Sharon rejected the appeal almost immediately. A second violation followed shortly afterward, then another. Soon the HOA began issuing fines. Margaret's daughter tried helping her resolve the situation. She submitted letters from doctors explaining Margaret's condition and the importance of having easy access to the scooter. Every request was denied. Sharon insisted that community standards applied equally to everyone. The explanation didn't make sense. Other residents openly stored bicycles, lawn equipment, and recreational vehicles outside without receiving violations. Neighbors started noticing that Margaret seemed to be receiving treatment nobody else faced. The situation became public during an HOA meeting. Margaret attended hoping to explain her circumstances directly. Using her cane, she slowly approached the microphone and described how much the scooter improved her daily life. Most residents listened sympathetically. Sharon did not. After Margaret finished speaking, Sharon argued that personal circumstances couldn't justify lowering community standards. Then she made a comment that instantly changed the mood in the room. If someone needs that much assistance to get around, maybe this isn't the right neighborhood for them anymore. The room fell silent. Several residents looked shocked. Even some HOA board members appeared uncomfortable. Margaret quietly returned to her seat without responding. News of the comment spread quickly throughout the neighborhood. Many homeowners were furious. Margaret had spent years being a kind and respected member of the community. The idea that she should leave because of a medical condition angered people. Instead of backing down, Sharon became even more aggressive. Violation notices continued arriving. Then, one morning, Margaret discovered a large warning sticker attached directly to her mobility scooter, identifying it as an HOA violation. She was humiliated. Neighbors walking by could see it immediately. For the first time since receiving the scooter, Margaret began avoiding using it. She attended fewer community events and spent more time inside her home. Her daughter noticed the change almost immediately. Eventually, Margaret admitted she felt embarrassed whenever she used the scooter because Sharon had made her feel like a burden. That conversation convinced her daughter that the situation could no longer remain private. She posted the entire story online, including photographs of the scooter, copies of the violation notices, and details about Sharon's comments during HOA meetings. The story spread rapidly. Thousands of people shared it. Disability advocates offered support. Local residents flooded social media with criticism of the HOA. Then other homeowners started sharing their own experiences. One family claimed Sharon repeatedly complained about their wheelchair-accessible van. Another resident revealed she opposed accessibility improvements near community facilities because she believed they looked unattractive. The more people spoke up, the clearer the pattern became.
The growing attention eventually attracted local news coverage. A television station interviewed Margaret, and viewers immediately connected with her story. She wasn't asking for special treatment. She simply wanted to use a mobility scooter without being harassed. As public pressure increased, several HOA board members began reviewing enforcement records. What they found was troubling. Many of the violations issued against Margaret appeared questionable. In several cases, recommendations to grant accommodations had been ignored. A special HOA meeting was called. The turnout was the largest the community had seen in years. Residents filled every seat. Margaret sat quietly near the front beside her daughter, while homeowners lined up to speak. One after another, residents criticized Sharon's actions and described how the situation had damaged the neighborhood's sense of community. Then the board presented findings from its review. Several enforcement actions appeared inconsistent with HOA policy. Accommodation requests had been handled improperly, and some violations should never have been issued at all. Sharon tried defending herself by claiming she was protecting property values, but very few people seemed convinced. Within weeks, she stepped down as HOA president. All fines issued against Margaret were dismissed. The HOA adopted new policies protecting residents who required medical accommodations and introduced training on disability rights for future board members. For Margaret, however, the greatest victory came months later during a neighborhood picnic. Families gathered at a local park for food, games, and music. Accessibility improvements had been added throughout the event area, making it easier for elderly and disabled residents to participate. Margaret arrived on her scooter. This time, nobody stared. Nobody complained. Instead, neighbors greeted her warmly and invited her to join them. Throughout the afternoon, she moved comfortably through the event, talking with friends and meeting new residents. Several people thanked her for standing up for herself because her fight had helped protect others facing similar challenges. As the sun began to set, Margaret sat beneath a large tree, watching families enjoy the gathering. For the first time in a very long time, she felt respected, welcome, and completely at home in her own neighborhood. The scooter parked beside her had once been treated as a violation. Now it represented something far more important. It represented the freedom and dignity she had fought to keep.